welcome back to my channel for another episode of my mini makeover series. And today I'm going to be giving a makeover to these 6 keychain toy things. I'm not 1000% sure what they are. I'm pretty sure they were a Happy Meal toy at one point. And as you can see, I have 3 and 3 duplicate sets. There are 3 sharks and then 3 puppies, dogs, I believe. That's what it looks like to me. I will say they are very cute as they are. I really like the simple shape and just faces that it has, but I don't really need 3 and 3 of the exact same thing. And I just feel like it's a really easy thing to make over and customize, and so that's what I'm hoping to do. And since 3 plus 3 makes 6, and that leads me straight into a perfect rainbow set. And if you were here with me last week where I was working on my Create This Book series and my Create This Book 2, I did the Create Whatever page, and I actually used that page to start like sketching out my design. But for the actual mini makeover, I start with pretty much the same way as pretty much everything. I sanded down the surface and then gave it a couple coats of gesso, I believe 2, and then 1 coat of just white acrylic paint. And with those 3 coats of whites, I finally had a nice bright white base coat ready, which now looking back on it, since I am doing a rainbow set and I ended up keeping one of the sharks blue, I didn't need to do this for the blue shark. But anyway, moving on. I'm starting with doing a nice base coat of each of the colors, and since this is going to be a rainbow set, each one has 1 color of the rainbow. So I have a pink one, an orange one, etc, etc. And I did kind of like position them to like rotate, so it was like one color would be a shark, and then the next color in the rainbow would be the dog, and then a shark and a dog, just so when they were lined up in rainbow order it would look nicer. At least I felt like it would look nicer that way. And I believe I did 2 coats for all of them except the yellow and the purple. The yellow was really transparent, so I ended up doing a 3rd coat, whereas the purple, after the 1st coat, I felt like it was very out of place next to the other ones. I went with more of a vibrant rainbow than like my normal pastel rainbow. And I actually had planned in my Create This Book page to do a pastel rainbow set, but when I actually sat down to paint, I realized I had a bunch of this leftover paint from, I believe, my last thrift store makeover or my last mini makeover, and I just decided to not waste paint and mix up more paint and just use the one I had. It actually worked out great, except for the purple. I did adjust it a bit more after the 1st coat, so it would be as vibrant as the rest of them in the set. And then once that was done, I brought out my Create This Book to kind of have this as a reference so I could, see what my plan was. And then I brought out my Posca markers and just started very carefully, while referencing my original sketches, trying on the faces. And last minute I kind of decided to do a little bit of small details with like a slightly darker or slightly lighter version of each of the colors, just so the rest of the blocks had more detail to them instead of just the face and the front. And I will say, the blue one is my favorite. I just think his face turns out the cutest, and I just love it the most. And unfortunately, the one right after that, at least in the way I was working on the faces, the green one is my least favorite. I struggled a lot with doing the face, and It turned out a bit different than my original sketch, and it's also like the most boring in my opinion. But I don't think that my dislike for the green one is bad enough to like ruin my feelings overall with this set. I think part of the problem with doing sets like this is you don't want them all to look the same, but you also don't want to make them so different that they don't look like they're a part of a set. And I think even if I do have some like nitpicky things I don't like about each one of them, when they're all together and fully finished as a set, I feel like they look really great together. And so that did help me feel a lot better about things. It was somewhat difficult to get into some of like the tight spaces in these toy box things, but overall it was a pretty quick process, which I really liked. And I tried my best to keep everything clean. Unfortunately, the little hooks that came on top of it got paint on it. I tried my best to clean it up, but there are some parts that just stayed messy. And I gave everything a nice coat of matte Mod Podge, and this is how it turned out. The pink is supposed to be like blushing and in love. The orange is like more mad and angry. The yellow one was actually my mom's favorite. When I showed them to her, she said this was her favorite one. She just really liked how bright and smiling she was. The green, I was trying to go for like a relaxed face, but I don't really know if I pulled it off that well. The blue is like a sad crying face, which I think it just turned out so cute, and I'm really happy with it. And then finally, the purple is like, I wanted it to be like a sleeping face, but it kind of looks like it's sleeping or just not really there. But this is how the full set turned out. I will say I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I hope you all like it as well. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really hope you all enjoyed it. Bye!